in after I saw a couple girls tear their ACLs on the high school team, and he's like, "Oh, I run this program," and I was like, "Oh, you do it for schools?" And he's like, "I do." So we're very excited to have him here. So he's from physical therapy specialist in Guilford and Old Saybrook. His colleague has kids in the Madison public schools too. So we have these wonderful children that we're voluntold to come and help out. It's nice. But thank you.
All right, thanks.
And we're videotaping too, so
So, all right, happens, guys, and walk the steps. Talk to people for a little while. And then we're going to run through a warm up for a little while. We'll exercise those together. Good. So thank you for having me and Eric out here today to talk about this. This is a program that I've been doing for, I don't know, 15, 20 years maybe. The idea of helping athletes train to prevent injury isn't new. The idea that we can do things to help prevent ACL injuries specifically, in female athletes more specifically, also isn't new. But what is a challenge is buy-in from coaches and parents to get programs like this implemented. So I am again grateful to be here and thank you for having me, because programs like this, as you'll learn, can go a long way in preventing ACL tears. So if we start back in like the 1970s, 1980s, female participation in sports started to spike quite dramatically. Young girls are playing more and more sports, and as the participation levels rose, so too rose injury levels in young female athletes. Those injuries were the same as what the young male athletes were getting. Ankle sprains, leg fractures, ligament tears in the knee, meniscus tears in the knee, broken arms, all the same things that you would get from any high-level sports participation. But with so many more female athletes playing sports and so many more injuries presenting in the medical clinics, we started to get data on injury disparities. And you can start to see that as females rose in participation levels, the injury rates were not rising the same rate. Things like ACL tears were rising at a much more dramatic fashion among young female athletes than they were among the counterparts. So as that data became available, and the rise was stark, it's somewhere between 4-to-1 and 8-to-1 female to male ACL injuries, and other knee injuries as well, meniscus tears, and injuries also. So as those injury rates rose, researchers started looking at why that was happening. And the first assumption were things like leg strength. And young girls maybe just didn't have the strength to participate in sports at this level. That turned out to be false. Things like flexibility in the legs. Maybe young girls were stiffer as they grew quicker and didn't have the flexibility to protect the knee during sports. False. What did finally bear out in the research was the biomechanics of how female athletes jump and cut. And there were clear differences in how the legs landed from a jump, took off from a jump, and loaded during plant pivot maneuvers. So if you have this card in front of you, on the back side with the pictures, you can see in the lower left-hand corner, 2 pictures of a 2-legged jump that came from some of the research that was done initially in folks trying to prevent these injuries. So the position on the right that's marked as incorrect, where the knees knock inward, is called valgus or abduction. It's this knock-knee position of the legs. So that motion became evident in biomechanical studies in young female athletes at different rates than in male athletes. But controlling that motion in the knee is not a function of knee strength. It's not a function of how strong your quad is, how flexible your hamstrings are. It's a function of neuromuscular control of the leg. It's a form of stability or agility or athleticism in the leg as a whole, primarily from foot and ankle stability, some hip strength, and even some core strength that helps athletes control their knee into the correct position. So being biomechanical experts, physical therapists and athletic trainers and such, started to do research in how they can train and improve the jump mechanics of female athletes. So back in 1995, there was a study, 6-week training program for female athletes that focused on jump training. And it looked at, is this position modified? Can you train athletes to jump differently? And the answer was yes. And the data that came out of that study found that if you can improve landing mechanics in female athletes, you could offload impact stress on the knee by 22%, and you can reduce knee injury rates in the ACL by about 80%. So that's an 80% reduction in injury rates if you can modify jump mechanics. Now, those researchers won all sorts of awards for excellence in research, and they spoke internationally. And the program that they put forward from that research was a 6-week jump training program. You had to participate 3 times a week. It took 20 or 30 minutes to do, and you would train girls to jump and land for better mechanics. And you can see those injury rate reductions as a result. Anything that we find in medical research like this that's so eye-opening as a 4 out of 5 preventable rate, 4 out of 5 ACL injuries are preventable, really needs to be confirmed in follow-up studies with other researchers and other groups, and preferably other places in the country or world. So in 1996, another group, instead of looking just at jump training, took 600 elite soccer players, semi-pro and amateurs, and put them through another biomechanical jump training program. And those researchers, they were in, that group was in Italy. So they were soccer players in Italy. They found an 87% reduction in the ACL tear rates among those 600 soccer players compared to the 2 season program. So the original training, 80% reduction. Another study out of Italy, 87% reduction. And then the third study that was done in Norway looked at 60 professional handball players, another pivot jump oriented sport. They found a 42% reduction in their ACL tear rates. So we have these studies coming out with 80% reduction, 87% reduction, 42% reduction when athletes are put through a training program that teach them how to control the legs during jumping over the field. The problem with these programs is that they take weeks of training. They take professionals with knowledge of how to train athletes to do them. And so there's kind of an entry barrier to running these things, usually in high school sort of environment. So moving out of jump training programs, researchers looked at how we can maybe put something into in-season, in-practice, in-game training to maybe get the same effects. What they landed on was a warm-up program that looks to try to incorporate some of the biomechanical training principles from the original jump training series into a warm-up that applies to basketball, soccer, other plant pivot and jump sports. So the program that we're going to go through today is called the PEP program. This one was first published in 2005, and it looked at over 5,000 girls, age 14 to 18. And by doing this warm-up that you're going to learn tonight, they were able to achieve an 87% reduction in ACL tear rates in the league in year 1, and a 77% reduction in year 2, compared to the 2 preceding years just by doing warm-up.
Oh dear.
Whoa.
So involved.
It's all part of the show. So there's not a lot of things that we do in healthcare that can reduce incidence by 80%. And there's not a lot of things we can do that take 15 minutes that reduce injury rates by that much. This program is designed to be a 15-minute warm-up. I even have something I call the 10-minute trick that I'll show you. But by doing this at every practice, every game, you're conditioning your athletes to be better athletes. You're conditioning them to perform better in your ability to stabilize their legs. And you're reducing injury rates by 80%. We call this ACL prevention. It's not prevention. We can't prevent all ACL tears. What we're doing is reducing the risk of injury by 80%. There's still going to be people who get hurt playing sports. But if we can take 4 out of 5 of those injuries out of our league, out of our girls' lives, that's certainly make it fun. So, there are other programs out there beyond just this program. This one I said was from 2005. In 2008, another one came along. Researchers, somebody from the International Olympic Committee in Sweden, came up with something called an 11 plus program. It's the one used by FIFA in their soccer leagues. It's also a great program. And if you were familiar with that, I'm happy to talk about it later. There's another one that came out of those researchers who did that first jump training study called the WHIP program. I'm happy to talk about that one if you want. In my experience, this is the easiest entry-level program to get to. The other programs have 3 different levels of intensity, which makes them good. It's something that the league can move into later should you decide to move forward with other stuff. But this program is the one that most coaches should be able to implement right away. It takes only 15 minutes. And the more athletes that go through this throughout their season, you can know that at least you're doing something concrete to reduce their rates. The program is also effective for young boys. The magnitude of reduction in rates is small because their injury rates are small, but it is good for our majority teams as well as when girl teams go through this and our female athletes go through this program, their injury rates drop to be almost on par with the male athletes. So you can almost take away the entire discrepancy between female athletes and male athletes. Okay? Scared?
No.
All right. We have some volunteers. So what I thought we would do is, again, I've done this many, many ways for many, many organizations. I think what might help is if I have our athletes go through the warm-up once, and we can see some of the exercises and how it works. I'll coach a little bit of the performance along the way. We'll stop, we'll talk a little bit about what we see in the program. Then I may have them do it again, even more coaching based on your questions and things that you guys are noticing, the questions you may have. And then at the end, we'll answer even more questions. Good? Okay. So if we take Parnell, guys ready? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 times 6, 7. You guys can line up on the sideline here, spread out. Stay on this side of half court. Move it out on the sideline. Keep going on the sideline. Good. You guys, I assume, have never done this, right? Have done it? Good. Spread out a little wider. So, the rest of you have never done this. Don't worry if you don't know what you're doing. It's okay. We're going to figure it out together. It's not that hard. It's just maybe a little different. So, just try to follow Eric and I for our team tonight. So, the first thing, if you guys want to follow along, and please feel free to get up and move around. Just be international, so I don't have to stay there. But if I was running this program from a team, we are going to use half the court because you probably have another team on the other half of the court doing their thing. So as nice as it might be, use the whole court spread out all over the place. we can do this on a half court pretty easy. Okay, so the first 3 exercises are they call a warm-up. So all you guys are going to do is jog, sideline, sideline, and when you get to the other side, just stop and face that wall. Then you're going to jog backward. But what I want you to do is stay in a line together as a team. Fast, not too slow. Ready? So all they're doing is just starting initial muscle activation here. Back pedal, get together, feet up, boys. So all we're looking for is a steady run, soft impact on the balls of their feet. You don't have to coach too much yet. This isn't the most friendly position they're going to find themselves in, but we're going to jog forward and back as a team. The reason we want to stay as a team is because part of neuromuscular control is being able to stabilize your legs without thinking about your legs. The last thing you want to do on the basketball court or the soccer field is plant your pivot and think about what your leg is supposed to be doing. You have external cues constantly in sport. You need to know where your teammates are, you know where the team is, where the basketball is. So by being able to run and line as a team, keeping a little bit of peripheral vision aware, and trying to make reactions based on who's slow. All right, so we'll go again. Mid speed, stay together as a team. Go together. All right. Good. Exercise 1. Okay. So now everybody turn and face this way. Now we start to get a little bit more specific in the warm-up. We want to shuffle or shuttle run. You're going to go hands out, butt out, squat, your knees wide over your feet, and then you're going to shuffle down the court, hands out, butt out. You're going to swap places foot to foot. Swap places foot to foot. And you're going to keep going down the floor, staying together as a team. Before lead the way. This is forward. Knees out, hands out, butt out. We just see one shuffle. Ready to go. Stop. Go back.
1 or 6.
We just see one shuffle, hands out, butt out. And go. 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 Breathe. Nope. Stay in position. This is where coaches are going to start looking for mechanical change. What we're trying to avoid is the knees in position. Whether you see it on takeoff or on landing. All right, one shuffle, swap feet, go. Go. Another coaching cue, you don't want to see any of our athletes turn. Do this to take half run win. You want to keep them lateral so that they learn to control lateral momentum through their hips and feet. You don't want them to cheat and do it forward run. So when you take that over here, lateral over that, ready to go. Good. Okay. Okay. And we have to do a few more this way. Hands, feet, completely not meet or touching each other rather. We want to keep space here. Space. Okay. Try a couple more. Let's see. Hands out, butt out. Swap. Go. Again. That way. This way. Good. Nice job. All right, so we can correct these mechanical impact deviations right away as we learn the program. We've covered our warm-up. We've done our forward running, we've done our backward running, we've done our lateral shuffle. Now we get into some strengthening exercises. You guys can all face this way. We're going to do walking lunges with our hands on our hips. Yeah, you jog down the other way. I want you to put back facing the ground here. Walk around, man. Walk around a little bit. Walk right into the. Look at your card. Look at the soccer player, correct and incorrect path. Watch our guys look down on the floor. You don't want to see the toe out, knee in. You don't want to see toe forward, knee in. You want to try to coach to correct the position. Forward back. That's another right. Right. Great. Come on out here. Come on. Come on. Good. All right. So let me see just one lunge, landing over. Good. Good. In there. A little water. Good. Put it in. Go forward. Put out water. Go forward. Up. Good. Other foot. Good. So pass 90 to the water. So we don't go a little bit too far past them. Finish. Next flip. Next flip. Ease apart. Next flip. Go past 90. Good. That. All right. On the sideline. Next. So during that landing and impact of that forward lunge, this is the time to build up strength. Slow them down. We don't care about speed yet. We don't care about number of reps. We want quality performance on that impact. Good stable knee, avoiding any knock knee position during landing and during takeoff. Oftentimes what we'll see is the athletes will focus on a good landing. They're good. When it goes time to take off, they'll come right in and step into the next one. So we're looking at landing impact load as well as taking. Okay, so now we're going to do floor slap lunges, where you're going to walk into a lunge, slap the floor, and come up. Okay, so sideline to sideline, walk, land over your leg, slap, deadlift. Up to the next one. Okay. You want to keep your knees straighter, straighter, breathe. So if you want to be bending down, straighter, not squatting down into the straighter, slap the floor, one up. The last lunge is focusing on some of the quad strength. This was going to work on the hamstring strength, by keeping the knee slightly bent. Okay, so again, you lunge forward, into your hip, stop the floor, come back up, next foot. Stop the floor. This is where you guys get to what makes the floor. Stop the floor. Put it in. All together. Slap it. Good. Slap it. Slap it. Good. Good. So to help follow this program when you're coaching, I would have to do regular lunges down, turn around, floor slaps on the way back, when you keep using the length of the floor each time. Come down to this sideline, guys. And you can spread out. Face everybody and spread out. Go on the sideline. Good. Just moving them down so you can see. Now we're going to work on plyometrics. So now we're looking at some jump training, specifically. The first one are lateral jumps over a cone. When you're starting this, you'll use a side hump. You don't have to set up cones. So we'll have everybody face that way. Step to the right side of the sideline. More.
What about single toe raises?
Oh, sorry. Turn around, face them again. Okay. So for plyometrics, we're going to do single leg toe raises. They're going to balance on one foot. Raise, everybody go on the right foot. Right foot. And we're going to raise up and down. Up and down. Up and down. Getting some balance and some strength. Keep going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Left side. Going up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what you want to look for is the imbalance. You want to look for the short range of motion. You want to see that everybody's getting all the way up to the ball of their foot, back down, and keeping your balance throughout the arc of motion. Right? 10 times one leg, 10 times the other leg. Now we can move on. All right, so now we're going to go lateral jumps. So we're putting face that way and on the right side of the line. We're going to go back to our athletic hands out, butt out posture. Narrower. Good. And what we want to see when they get into this loaded position is that the trunk is actually tipping forward. So that they bend through the hips, bend through the knees, drive the knees forward over the ankles. And when they take off, guys and girls, want to avoid any knock-knee position. So you're going to go down, you're going to propel up over that line, land soft and quiet, with your hands out and your butt out. Hands out, butt out, soft and quiet. Hands out, butt out, soft and quiet. Over the line. So find the line, single black line here, move to the side. And then you're going to go over. Ready? 1, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One, 2, 1 in. 7. 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay. So lateral jumps over the cone. Lateral explosive strength. Learning to stabilize, watching the knock knees on takeoff and landing, focusing on a soft and quiet landing so that they learn to absorb force in the muscles. A lot of the biomechanical studies we see in jump training for athletes find a very upright posture on landing, the knees not in. We want force absorbed out of the muscles, not on the straight joints. So we want the depth, we want quiet landing on all the jumps. So lateral jumps, okay. So now we're going forward and back. So behind the line, those through. Same, hands out, butt out, bend forward your trunk, knees apart. Then we're going to take off and go forward. Soft quiet landing. As soon as you hit the ground, we're flexing your body backward. Go. Forward 2. Backward 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Okay. Forward and backward jumps over the cone, or to start, over side leg. Single leg hops over the cone. Right leg behind the line. And then we're going to hop over the line and land 1 foot, soft and quiet. Hands out, butt out, take off, and land. Good. We'll land on 1 foot, stick the landing, and then backward. 2. Forward, 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Good. We want a deep spring, ankle, knee, and hip through those. And we want that soft, quiet landing, a single propulsion takeoff. Try to avoid the stutter step. Then we'll switch to the other foot. Now left foot, 1 leg, hands down, butt out. Take off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Next, we have vertical jumps with headers for soccer, or vertical jumps with rebounds for basketball. So when I'm coaching basketball, I have them in rebound position. So boys and girls, hands out, butt out. We're going to go up as tall as we can. Get a rebound, land, soft and quiet, knees out, elbows out, make some face. Ready? Go up and get the rebound. High as you can. 1. All goes out. Lay into the squat. Push those knees, push out. 2. Tall. Launch your hands as tall as you can. 3. 4. Speed in. Ease out. Drop it in, go through the vision. Walk it up. 2. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Okay, and scissors. Resilience. Down into a single leg squat. Then you're going to switch. Ready? Start with the right foot forward. And then the scissor switch. 1. A little bit. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Good. That's the plyometric training done. And we move on to our agilities. We have 3 to do here. There's a forward run with a 3-step deceleration. So then you're going to turn around and press it, and you have here 4. 5. Yeah, just put it on the sideline. So what you guys and girls are going to do is you're going to sprint as fast as you can until you hit the side of the key. When you hit the side of the key, you've done this before. It's where my cap is. You get to the side of the key, you guys are going to fall out 1, 2, 3. So after this sprint, get here and go 3-step deceleration. 1, 2, 3. And stick the landing on the last deceleration. Okay? And go. Fall out. 1, 2, 3. Again, fall in. Get to the side of the knee. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to sprint again. And before you get to the sideline, fall out again. 2 3-step accelerations per lane board. You fall when you get here. 1 over to the side. Go. 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2. Over time, we want them to be in sync, be able to decide when they're going to decelerate. 1, 2, 3. So that when they get into a situation like a defensive closeout, they have the ability to get on their opponent quick if we decelerate. And if they're going to get facing the cup left or right, they can plant, be in control, and make a change of direction. If they're wobbling and stumbling like that, so they try to make a change of direction. He goes in, then he goes out. Goes in.
So on the deceleration, you're not trying to cover a lot of ground.
No, I'm trying to sprint fast.
Yeah.
But then stop.
Yeah, sure.
3-step control. Yeah. So that's why they should be able to get 2 in per solid gift. So agility 1, done. Agility 2 is a bounding run. This one is a high knee bounding run, side to side. You're going to take off as high as you can from foot to foot, all the way down the court. Okay? Stay together, count this thing up. Fire. Somewhere in Joseph, so similar for ways.
I need to do something.
Think so serious.
You need safety. So when they set up goals, you can do that on your board. For once they learn the program, things like those, just do it in space. sideline, elbow, other bottom of the other leg line, sideline, foot. Like that. What you guys are going to do, you're going to face this way. And you're going to run this cone, plant outside foot, turn, go to this cone, plant outside foot, turn and go this way. Your body should be changing position. You're running this way like me. Plant, then you go this way, plant back home, turn and go this way. Right. We'll go like 15 to 75 or something. Right, your right foot. Right foot. Right foot. Left foot. Right foot. Back to the side. We want what he did. You don't want many slide or double set. When you fall, just a second. You can't courage. Right foot. Oh, there's a cold. Okay, does the land a little pressure?
Hey guys, can you scoot down so we can see them? Yeah. Can. Thank you.
So with your left foot goes, facing that way. Right foot plants, facing that way. Okay. Here. Good. Go around.
How fast do you want them to be? Well,
Eventually, fast.
okay.
So this is a training program. All warm up, injury prevention, but it's your conditioning and training. There's a little bit off and going on over here. That's a good. So you're getting your conditioning in as well as your warm up and your injury prevention. Yeah. Once they get it down, start slow, ramp it up. In a few minutes, we can talk about other escalations we can do in this program. But that's where you can start. And this is a completely novice group. By the fourth, fifth practice, so it's getting repetitive. They know what they're doing, and we start to improve their performance. And then you can start coaching it up. So coaching speed, coaching intensity, and coaching change direction. So then we go into actual stretching. So you guys want to circle up around me? Circle.
Right.
So this is where the 10-minute trick comes in. Everything we did with these guys and the teams that I coach takes 10 minutes on the nose. Once you've done it twice, it's 10 minutes on the nose. So then we go into 5 minutes of stretching. Okay? So in this point, we're going to stretch bottom up. So I'm going to start with our camera. We're going to put our foot behind us, all of our weight on it. And we're going to bend our back knee down as low as we can, push it forward. Weights into that leg. Pushing the knee down to stretch the knee. Just about heel down. Good, bend your back knee. Put your weight behind it. Look at it. And sit back. You're sitting down. Stretch that calf for just 3 to 5 seconds. And then come up. And again. Down. Still same leg. 2. 1. 3. Step down. Drive the knee forward. Weight on the back leg. 4. Push down. Turn on back foot. Go to a foot. Push your 1. 5. Good. Other foot. Push back. Go down. Push it in. 2. Five. Good. So bottom up. Up to the calf. Move over to the quad. Simple little down the heel. So pull back. Coming down. 1, 2. We're going to give a little pressure. 3, 4. Switch sides. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down, quad. Then we can go to the hamstring behind the leg. So for this, we'll have them step forward, toe in, with the reach out. Slightly bent knee. Or 1, reach out. Yep, so quad, 4, 5. Good. Then we're going to toe out with the same foot. And while toed out, hit 1. The front leg a little straighter. Come back up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Other leg. Toe in. Reach out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go out. Reach out. 1. That table straight. 2, 4, 5. The inner thigh. And space 8. So what? Right foot forward. And take your hips. Right foot forward. Push your hips to the right. Lean on your left. Three, 4, 5. Face me. Lift up the feet. Now shift the left foot forward. Hips. Push to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last is the front of our hips, the hip flexor. We're going to step forward, hands on your hips, tuck your butt under, then move forward and forward. Or your weight on your back, up, and then move forward, up, and then move forward, up, so, side, up, forward, up, forward. And you should be able to stretch them every single push. Good. Okay. Thank you. Good job. So a few things. The 10-minute trip involves the athletes knowing the program, going through the warm-up, and then by using the stretching at the end for 5 minutes, that portion of the 15-minute warm-up can be some of your discussion as a coach about the practice plan for the night, the next game, things you need to work on. That's where you can start your little pre-practice, pre-game discussion, and that's the last 5 minutes of their warm-up. So the first part of that drill should take you 10 minutes. I do it 3 times a week with the team I coach, 10 minutes on the nose, and then 5 minutes of stretching. We talk about what they need to do. Kids know the stretches. I still have a little shoulder to do practicing. The standing stretching is a modification from the original prep program. It's a little bit more applicable to the sports that the kids are going to be playing. Hamstring stretch, for example, That's where they're going to be going for a loose ball and their hamstring if they want the flexibility. The hip flexor stretch, for example, that's going to be when they're reaching up for a high pass. If they don't have that flexibility, they're going to compress their spine and create that. So by putting them through a standing environment for their stretching, they're going to get a little bit more sport-specific training. Otherwise, it is the PEP program that's been in existence since 2003 or so. Just those couple of modifications. So any questions so far? Please speak up.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you're so many kids like don't understand how their body moves, you have to stretch it correctly.
Yes.
So in those cases, and we have a couple here, like how do you talk them through that? Or is it more just like move their body, push their hip where it's supposed to be, just manually manipulate their
Yeah. See, this is where the fact that your coaches really comes into them, is that you're used to getting kids who don't know a sport to put their body where you want it for the swim. You're used to teaching them to get wide on a ground ball. You're used to teaching them to get their elbows out for a rebound. These maneuvers are the same. You have to spend a couple of minutes doing just that, teaching them to keep their weight on the leg. You go on, push their knee forward, make them correct their posture. When these exercises are done right, what you're going to see happens. You're going to see people in the right position, controlling their body, posture on, hips out. You're going to see good athletic maneuvers, and that's the point. You don't need a special biomechanical training to build the athlete for performance the way you do for getting them to do what they want, what you want on the court. So you're used to telling them how to sprint back to the three-point line and how to do these things. And that performance that you see in the sport is what you're trying to get them to do with their body. Try to get them to perform the maneuvers in a way that's going to make them safe and keep them foot. So yes, stand up there, put your hands on them, so move here, stand tall, or this kind of thing. Good question?
In your addendum for the American,
Yeah.
said training, the American had focused on maybe.
Yes.
Did that mean that you schedule singing like a house and this others?
So we were talking about doing this before games, practices, so we have also the jump training. What is too much? You know, 2 games a weekend, you run this program, 2 practices over the week, everyone else.
So yeah, if they're having 2 games in a weekend, this should be run before programs because it's taking the place of your running laps. It's taking the place of your stretching. It's taking the place of those things. The jump training, we slowed it down a little bit here. It's 30 seconds to a minute. So you're not
like that 6-week program. And with this, or is this too much?
No, they could incorporate that with this on off days. Because the jump training, the 6-week jump training program, that's done 3 days a week. So you can use that on this. This level of jump training, you're going to improve performance, but it's not just by adding muscle bulk or muscle mass in a strengthening manner. You're improving neuromuscular control. You're helping the kids learn neuromuscular firing rates, like that muscle memory things we talk about. They're learning how to fire their nerves and muscles in a way to stabilize movements rather than just bulking. So we go to a training, like the jump training, where they're looking at fire intensity. That's goal A, just supplement.
2 questions. Is there a non-modified PED program? And my second question is really this, like the field age group.
This is 12 to 12 plus, 12 to college. That's the ideal. The unmodified, you can find at Santa Monica Sports Medicine, and there'll be a description of all the exercises. The primary modification is the floor squat lunges. They teach a Russian hamstring, where the kids pair up in this position, cross, and then control and use their hamstrings and look forward to that. It fires the hamstring, works the hamstring. It's probably not the most sport specific way to train the hamstring. So that's the modification. And then the stretches are all sitting down. And most specific. Stretch, it's just not the most specific. So those are the recommendations on this.
Sorry to address them again, else like, why is the injury rate so high from the females? No?
There's actually a lot of research into that. The primary reason is that the neuromuscular control, as the norm on their legs, isn't what it needs to be to control the limbs. And so the athletes land and the knees cave inward into this reduction of valgus position. And that's a result of a failure of that neuromuscular control of decelerating force properly. To get a little bit more specific, it comes down mostly to foot and ankle stability, hip strength and rotation inside those motions, and core strength. So if you had to find 3 impairments within that maneuver, it would have to be the balance, and the ability to stabilize, the lateral rotation of strength in the hips, and the inertia. So when we're coaching these maneuvers, anything you can do to stop a wobble, anything you can consciously correct where the knee is, keeping them loaded with their hips when they're doing the lunges is going to pay off. Other questions? So, should we put the group through it again faster? Should you, as coaches, get up and try some of these things? Or you, what? Or
I
you want
think
to?
the hardest thing to retain is probably those standing stretches.
Okay.
And the level
Want
of
to see those yet?
standing or seated.
Yeah. You want to stand up and try those?
I think too, we're recording it, so if we get that, what, the purpose and the album, send this whole thing out there.
Okay, it's like I want to take a picture of who's looking at what's on.
Oh, sure.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But I want to.
Steph, did you want to physically go up there and stretch?
It's up to you then.
You guys can try. All right, who's going to join me on the line? There's one. Brave Soul.
Oh, there's always in.
There's 2 Brave Soul. There we go. It's not against the arcade.
Yeah. Yeah, you should get part of the and love it. I know.
So much fun.
Alright, so like I said, I have the stretch bottom up because again, it's easier they can remember. So as we go to the bottom ups, first thing is the calves. So we put that leg behind you. Keep all your weight on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Drive your knee forward, like you're sitting with your shoulder. Get a deep bone and stretch. That's Achilles. And the whole holding stretch, area stretch, you're gonna do a dynamic stretch. Down for about 5 seconds and then
so I think that's.
Railroad tracks or bike,
yep, maybe
collar feet, railroad tracks or bike.
Yep, shoulder width. Then you just drive the other foot, swap out, weight on your leg, drive it knee forward, go down, deep bow to the head. All right, so now when our athletes land, they drive over their foot. That's where they need it. They don't need. They need that. They don't got the land of the road. They drive to one functioning. Then we go to squat. The simplest one is this. That's the one you can stay with. But we're going to use that same dynamic pulsing on and off. The whole arch of the belly. So go 1, 2,
That's what 32 rows like.
Steph just had her
Like you said.
Once, like,
Once you implement it a few times.
hamstring, work us up. Step forward. So just a normal stride.
It makes sense that.
Fingers forward step. Toe-ish. Turn your pelvis, it goes down, reach out, floor. Light, bend up.
back head this one hard.
Front leg is the longer structure. Same, kind of 5 count on the way down, slip with the knee, toe in, reach out.
Yeah.
The back shoulder is doing it safe. Really doesn't mean you can be wherever's comfortable. So if we took a step forward, we toed in. So this will get your lateral hamstring. Staying in that same step stance position. Toe out, turn your body and reach in, keep your weight on the front leg. This will give the medial hamstring, which will feel more like a groin. Medial hamstring. Both sides of the hamstring up. Calf, bottom of hamstring. It's kind of really like the groin. So the groin starts where? Back leg, you're going to be straight. If you ever have any pocket players pull their groin, those on the stepping out, this move. As you step forward and out, this fast hamstring needs their groin needs to lengthen. So move your weight on that leg, hand on from your hips, push your elbows.
I'll send it, you send it to me. It's just like, John,
So they're switching to the other side.
something. No, I don't think there's any options.
That's not.
I didn't really look too much into it.
5 count pulse. Working our way up. So for this one, spare, take a step forward, weights on the back leg. The most important thing here is not fucking the butt under as you weight on the leg, pushing forward. Some dynamic stretches. Okay, so you stretch the whole leg from the top, in standing. And it's like I said, I'm gonna go where they're gonna need it. They're going for a loose ball, that's where they're gonna pull their hamstring. They go back overhead, that's where they're gonna need that hip flexibility.
If you were doing this in an off season, y'all.
So this would be done before every athletic event.
Yeah.
Before the practice. Stop.
Does it have to be off season? Or,
No, you can use it in the off season. It'll just take you 10 minutes. It would be a great learning tool in the off season. Run through it times, 3 times, and really slow down the exercises and focus on that goal. Just a few examples. So we have things like the shuttle run, okay, right back to the top. So go through the warm up. So we have them jogging frontward, we have them jogging backward. Then they turn lateral, and if they go sideways with the shuttle run, that's something that you can do on an auditory cue if you want. Take the whistle, and you have them hold that position, and then you blow it once, and they got to do one script. They blow it twice, they got to go to their left. They got to listen to the auditory cue with 2 whistles and 1 whistle, decide which direction to go. You can stand in front and give some coaching cues right and left. So they got to be able to react to your hand playing, and you can make the warm up with the training a little bit more dynamic. You can have them hold the basketball, switch hands. They go left, they got to take the basketball to the left. Go right, they got to take the basketball to the right. So you can take this basic program make little modifications like that and still cover what we need in neuromuscular training, training athletes to control their body, but give it a little bit more dynamic twist to make it a little more intensive for off-season training. Instead of 10 minutes of work plus 5 minutes of stretching, be easy, make it 15 or 20 minutes of work.
Week or 3 times a week, 5 times a week?
Probably 5 times a week. Get it off-season training. So then go to the strengthening tab in the middle, walking lunges. So you can have them hold, slow down the lunge pattern if you want. You can have them wait for a cue on a whistle. You can have them take a basketball, go into the right side of the leg, to the outside of the leg. So you can start to modify these exercises once they've learned it to add a little bit of change. The repetition on this is a good thing. We want them doing this over and over and over and learning these maneuvers, learning to control the leg, keep the knee positioned over the foot. The same with the jumps and the hops. Try to get your captains to lead some of this for you, at least calling out the repetitions. Have them jump in sync with one another, stay together as a team. So when this is done right, and you go to a gym and you watch a team marching down the court doing these things, the in sync, the captains are pulling it out, the athletes look strong, they're controlling their body, they can stand on one leg. It's a good thing. It's an impressive sign of the team's agility and their strength. And it shows that you really got them locked into working together, controlling their body. Other questions? So, number 1, it's a dynamic warm-up. Number 2, prevents injuries. Number 3, as coaches and parents, you're in position to improve these movements and coach them out of injury risk. That is something that you can do as a coach. You do not need to be a specially trained medical person to do this. But this is something you can do as a coach. Any other questions?
Girls, do you have any questions?
On your way out, there's an article you should take with you. It's something that was written by Brian McCormick years ago. He's the hard to guard guy. He's got a bunch of basketball blogs, coaching blogs. It's a good resource for coaching tips. He wrote an article that highlights some of what we talked about tonight. Take it with you. Read it to reinforce some of the concepts that we spoke about. I have more of these cards at the office, if you guys need it for your colleagues around the league. And Eric and I are an available resource for your league. We've done follow-up programs with leagues before, where we'll come back and work with your team individually, and meet you in practice sometime, and give you coaching tips to go through the warm-up with the kids. We can come back in subsequent years when the teams are doing this consistently and talk about progressions. So feel free to reach out. We would like to see things like this get implemented.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.